Larry, as soon as we go live with YouTube and Facebook, I'll let you know and we can start.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks.
Okay, we're ready.
All right, thank you, Sally. I'll call the July 15th, 2020 Area Plan Commission meeting to order. First thing, I think most of you already have your microphones muted, but if you would do that, please, and just unmute if you wish to speak or during our votes. First thing, Zach, would you call the roll, please?
All righty, Jackson Bogan, absent. Larry Leverins.
Here.
Roland Winger.
Here.
Gary Schroeder.
Here.
Gary Reynolds.
Here.
Greg Jones.
Here.
Jake Gray.
Here.
Diana Looper.
Here.
Vicki Pearl.
Here.
Michelle Long.
Here.
Tom Murtaugh.
Present.
Perry Brown.
Here.
Tracy Brown.
Here.
Carl Griffin. Absent. Lisa Dullum.
Here.
Kathy Parker.
Here.
Carla Snodgrass.
Here.
And we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Zach. Sally, briefing session.
The only thing to inform everybody about is that subdivision S4922 Blacker Minor subdivision needs to be continued to the August 5th executive committee meeting because they failed to post signs or send their notified certified letters.
Okay. First or second item of business, approval of the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from the June 17th, 2020 meeting as submitted.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, that carries. New business.
I move to hear and approve resolution PD 20-06.
Second.
Ryan?
Okay. So the Providence plan development on the west side near the airport. As you recall, a few months back, we got the construction plans for phase 1 and phase 2 approved and recorded. They are now following up that approval with the submission of their final plat. The final plat consists of 2 phases. Phase 1 in its entirety, and that area is located in the southwest corner of the intersection of State and McCormick. And then phase 2, part 1, is a small portion of the single family detached environment. The slide you see here now is the phase 1 area. Consists of multifamily apartments and retail. And then the phase 2 section on the next, as you can see, very small area, consists of 5 single family detached lots. There are some street and alley dedications connected with these final plats, obviously to provide access to these areas. So this is really the first installment of this project. If anyone's been by there, they've seen a lot of digging going on. That's all the infrastructure work connected with the construction plans that were approved. So now with this stage, they'll be able to get the lots platted, be able to get building permits to go vertical, and on the single-family detached side, start selling lots once they're ready for that step. So bonding is being requested, and they do meet all conditions at this stage of the development. And again, once these two plats are recorded, well, after their approval, once they're recorded and bonding's been accepted, then we will go ahead and clear them to begin formal construction on the buildings out there. So yeah, have to answer any questions. Otherwise, recommending approval of resolution PD 2006.
Thank you, Ryan. Does the petitioner or the representative want to make a presentation?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Oh, Larry, could we
Yes.
find out who spoke on behalf of the petitioner?
Yeah, sorry, this is Curtis Sadison with Old Town Companies.
Thank you, Curtis.
No problem.
Any questions from the commission? Okay, Sally or Ryan, one of you, can you give me a 1-minute pause here for any comments from the from citizens?
Okay, I'm working on my countdown. One minute has elapsed.
And
Thank
we
you,
do not
Sally.
have any public comment on this item.
All right. Zach, would you call the vote, please?
All right, when I call your name, please signify your vote by saying approve or deny. Jackson Bogan, absent. Larry Leverins.
Aye. Approve.
Roland Winger,
Approve.
Gary Schroeder,
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds,
Approved.
Greg Jones,
Approve.
Jake Gray,
Approved.
Diana Looper,
Approved.
Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approved.
Harry Brown,
Approve.
Tracy Brown,
Approve.
Carl Griffin, absent. Lisa Dellum,
Approve.
Kathy Parker,
Approve.
Carla Snodgrass.
Approve.
So there are 15 votes in favor, and that is approved. So now everybody, if you could just please fill out your written ballots and submit those to Don, and he will let us know when he has all those in.
Will do. Looks like we have 15 approved.
Thank you, Don. Okay, we'll move to the public hearing section of the meeting, and I have a statement to read. For those of you unfamiliar with our procedures, the commission would like you to know the following. When we hear a request to subdivide land, we're only concerned as to whether the actual drawing showing the division into lots meets the technical requirements of our ordinance. And the question of appropriateness has already been determined. Anyone wishing to make comments or provide us with information regarding any subdivision petitions will be given the opportunity to do so. When we are hearing a request for a change in zoning, we're trying to determine if the new zone being requested and the uses allowed in that zone are appropriate to that property and supported by the comprehensive plan. With each case being heard, our staff will present its report. Then the person requesting the rezone will be given an opportunity to speak. Following that, those of you wishing to speak in favor of the rezone will be recognized, and then those of you who wish to oppose it will have a turn. This will be your only time to speak. The person requesting the action will be allowed a rebuttal. Plan Commission members will then ask questions and finally vote. Please limit your statements to no more than 5 minutes. We ask that you not repeat what others before you have already said. We are a 17-member body, and the majority of 17 is 9. Regardless of how many commissioners are actually present, at least 9 votes in favor or 9 votes against are required for our action to be official. If fewer than 9 of us agree to either approve or disapprove an action, that case must be heard again next month. Our vote on a request to subdivide is final. Our vote on a request to rezone serves as a recommendation to the appropriate city council, town council, or county commissioners, who must ultimately decide on changes in zoning. When addressing the commission, please state your name and address for the record. Cell phones must be turned off while the meeting is in session. If you need to make a call, please step out of the room before using your phone. All exhibits presented to the commission become the property of the commission. Gary.
I move that there be incorporated into the public hearing portion of each application to be heard this evening and to become part of the evidence at such hearing, the Unified Zoning Ordinance, the Unified Subdivision Ordinance, the Comprehensive Plan, the bylaws of the Area Plan Commission, the application and all documents filed therewith, the staff report, and recommendations on the application be heard this evening, and responses from the checkpoint agencies.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Gary, I'll take the first motion.
I move to continue S 4922 Blacker Minor Subdivision Minor Sketch to the August 5th, 2020 Executive Committee meeting.
I second.
Zach, do we need a roll call on this one?
As long as the chair can do a consensus and there are no nay votes, we'll be fine with just a voice.
Okay, all right, very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? That motion passes. Okay, the first item on here is the UZO amendment. And I'll take that motion, please.
I move to hear and approve UZO Amendment Number 97, Business Park and Gateway Directory Signs.
I second.
Sally?
Yeah. The purpose of this amendment has been to try to get freestanding signs consolidated into a sort of a neat package, like you typically see at an integrated center, which would be like, even Tippecanoe Mall or any strip kind of center where there is the name of the center and then a listing and signage for all the tenants. So this amendment was to try to get the same kind of signage available for commercial subdivisions. So after some starts and stops and then some better ideas, what we finally came up with was this definition of business park, which would be a commercial subdivision that has internal public streets. It has more than 2 lots. It has a gateway directory sign, which is the next definition in the amendment. And that sign would be located near the main entrance from the perimeter street that accesses the entire development. The second definition that would be new is gateway directory sign, so that a minimum of 25% of the sign supporting structure would have to be brick, masonry, or stone. The name of the business park would have to be at least 20% of the total sign area. And then the size and height of the sign directory would follow the same requirements as you would already find in section 4-8. And we would require through this that the gateway directory sign would have to be erected within a sign easement, which would be part of the subdivision plat. So there are there's some additional guidance. There's a whole section on how to calculate the signage for a gateway directory sign. The signage is calculated based on the zoning district, how many acres are within the entire development, and the speed of the adjacent roadway. Then there is a height maximum, and the setback is the same as for any other freestanding sign, which is the same as the sign's height. Originally, there was a section that would have limited the number of freestanding signs at a standalone commercial lot. At the ordinance committee meeting in July, the ordinance committee voted to take that section out of the amendment. It is, however, staff's opinion that the way to make this work is to level the playing field. And the only way to level the playing field and promote these business park gateway directory signs is if there is no additional advantage for a standalone lot to have multiple freestanding signs way in excess of what a lot in a business park could have. So taking that out, in staff's opinion, takes away the level playing field that we were trying to establish. So what you have in your staff report is attachment A, which is the way the amendment came out of the ordinance committee, and attachment B, which is as the amendment was originally proposed, and which in staff's opinion keeps the playing field level. Now, if you want to discuss again attachment B, and we want to work on a compromise, if you decide you want to go that route, I will offer a compromise for attachment B in section 3.
Okay, thank you, Sally. Does Chad Spitznagel or wish to speak for West Lafayette, or the developer of Sagamore Commons have some comments to make on this?
Chad Spitznagel, Building Commissioner, is on the line here. I agree with Sally's comments. The original intent was to level the playing field and to not dilute the standalone lot with multiple freestanding signs. Several of these lots are going to have two frontages anyways, and will have plenty of sign area that they can put on their wall and what have you. Directional signage can also have a logo on it, so it's not like the back side of their building couldn't have a business sign or logo to go. So after the long work on this, I think option B is our best option.
This is Debbie Mann with the developer Mann Properties. We've worked, Sally and her people have worked with us to try to do this, and it's been a great relationship. And I think what they're trying to do makes sense. We started out, our original intention was for our development at Sagamore, and when we first proposed having the what we call the integrated sign, the Highline sign, we knew we couldn't just come in and say, hey, we want to also put up a pylon, big pylon sign. So our proposal was, hey, we're going to take some of the signage away from the individual lot owners. They'll still have fascia sign. They get maybe a monument sign, but instead of having 7 24-foot pole signs along there, let us do an integrated sign. And that was kind of the compromise. We never, as the developer, we never want to take signage away from retailers because they'll always complain about it. But it seemed like a fair option to say, let's give up those and let us put on the other kind. And by what Sally's saying, that now if it's not a business park, if it's a standalone lot, they do have a lot more signage. I do think that it's somewhat defeating the purpose.
Are there any questions from the commission?
Jerry Reynolds, Lafayette City Council. My understanding is at the meeting, we were originally going to eliminate sections 3 and 5. Is that correct, or is something changed here? We're going to leave them the same.
That's correct.
We are eliminating 3 and 5.
Yeah, so attachment A eliminates 3 and 5, and it moves section 4 to become the new section 3. Attachment B keeps in sections 3 and 5 as originally proposed.
Okay. Thank you.
And there's the up to 2 frontages language, I think, in section 2 that we moved out twice. It's referenced in there 2 times.
So Gary, here, what did I make a motion to put on the floor? Did I put attachment A on the floor when I made a motion to hear amendment number 97? What is on
Yes,
the?
you put
Yeah,
attachment A on the floor.
And
So
just to clarify, that was,
I'm sorry, so to do what
That was-
staff is proposing, you would have to substitute attachment B.
And my question is on the ballot then is it just has one ballot.
We would take a roll call vote to amend the amendment.
Okay.
So for clarification, so does amendment A represent what was approved at the ordinance committee
It
for
does.
consideration? Okay, thank you.
and just for my sake and for clarity, amendment A, I agree with Sally 100%, was what ordinance committee passed forward, and that's what is currently on the floor of this motion that we're talking about. So if there's going to be changes, I think the chair can discuss those now. Larry, get a feel for the room, and then somebody would have to make a motion to amend that. Or we could vote and see how that vote comes out and go from there.
Okay, so right now, so everybody's clear, if I have it correctly, we have on the floor attachment A as it stands. Okay,
Correct.
so if anyone, all right, so that's what we're discussing, and that's what we would vote on at this point. If anyone wants to make an
That's-
amendment then, or change it, then that would have to be an amended motion.
That's correct.
So and I apologize, I missed that ordinance committee meeting. Could somebody fill us in on the discussion of why that changed that ordinance?
I'm sorry,
Gary,
Tom, I
could
didn't
I ask-
Gary, you want to answer that?
hear your question, Tom. Explain to you.
I asked, I'd like to know a little bit more about what the discussion was around the need for the change.
Well, we approved Amendment A, and they proposed B, and there are some locations like at 26 and 52 or Sagamore Parkway that have signs on both sides. I guess the original example was 38 and Creasy, the speedway stations that has two perpendicular signs, one facing for one traffic direction, one facing for the other. And it seems to me like we thought that was appropriate in some locations. And Carl brought up the point, as we're being on the Board of Zoning Appeals, that's something we would probably approve. So we didn't think that we needed to make an ordinance against something that we thought would be appropriate. And then the other thing I didn't think about at the time, we're going to make a lot of signs non-conforming out there. And I'm not sure how many there are. Maybe there's a few, but it typically just happens where you have a business on the corner and some put up an angle sign, and some, depending on their lot size, they'll have one on each road. And I think for the speedway, I mean, that's a busy intersection, and their signage appropriate. I think across the street, maybe the Family Express, they may only have one. I'm not sure. I think Kathy said, I mean, if we're not looking for something, we're not looking at signs. So I have to make an effort to see what's up there. But that was our reasoning, Tom.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Larry,
Yes.
Yeah, may I? I said at the beginning that if there was some concern about corner lots still being able to have two signs or three-sided lots, I had a change that I was willing to offer as sort of a compromise between the two positions. So I think this may be the appropriate time to do that. So if you look at section 3, which I am showing on the go to meeting screen, where it says 1 per 2,000 total linear feet of all frontages, which is what one of the sections that came out in attachment A. If you're willing to go back to attachment B, then staff would be willing to propose that instead this say 1 per each road frontage up to a maximum of 2 signs. So if a lot had 3 road frontages, they could still have 2 signs. If it had 2 road frontages, it could have 2 signs. If it had 1 road frontage, it could have 1 side. What we don't want to happen is to have a lot that has 3 sides get 3 freestanding signs, whereas a lot in a business park in that situation would be on the business park sign and get one freestanding sign. I think our concern is that why would this amendment then encourage people into a business park if they could choose a lot that was not in a business park and have all kinds of signage? The intent was to try to encourage consolidated signage through this business park amendment. So what I'm proposing as what I would consider a compromise is that a corner lot or a three-sided lot would still get at least two signs. And the change would be here to this section 3 of attachment B.
And in that case, Sally, section 5 would also go back in, correct?
That's correct, because that really affects other things, not just the freestanding signs.
Right. Comments?
I'm thinking, I think we have attachment A, we worked on that quite a bit, agreed to, and B, we have a couple people that aren't here from the ordinance committee, and I would propose that we just approve the motion on the floor and we send attachment B back to the ordinance committee, and we can tweak it there, and if we come up with something, we'll send it back for approval.
Yeah, I agree with you, Gary, because I think we're fixing one problem and then we're causing a bunch of other people not to become compliant. You know, I mean, that's just my opinion. And I drove today where you suggested on 38 and a couple different areas. And I can see that in Lafayette, we could make some people very unhappy when we pass this.
Now, my question to that, and maybe this goes to Sally, if we pass attachment A, that's going to the jurisdictions, right?
Correct.
And if they then pass it and we turn right around in ordinance committee and come back with something else, does that make sense too? I mean, I'm wondering if we have enough questions, to take it back to ordinance committee, why don't we just take it back to ordinance committee?
To me, that sounds like a better solution myself.
I concur.
I also agree.
So would that be a motion to table this item and send it back to ordinance committee?
So move.
Second.
All right. And just so we have clear records, because we need to document this, I think that was Perry with the motion to send it back, correct?
Yes.
All right. And the second was from
Gary.
Okay. So now, Mr. Chair, you have a motion and a second to send this back to ordinance to discuss what was brought up here at the meeting. And any further discussion, I think you could call for, and then I will do a voice vote on this.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion? All right, Zach, please call the vote.
All right.
And this is
a vote to send this back. Yep, this is a vote to send this back to ordinance committee for further deliberation and table this matter at full APC. So Jackson Bogan, absent. Larry Leverance,
Yes.
Ron Winger,
With respect and empathy to the work the ordinance committee has done so far, I say aye.
Gary Schroeder,
Yes.
Jerry Reynolds,
Yes.
Greg Jones,
Yes.
Jake Gray,
Yes.
Diana Looper,
Yes.
Vicky Pearl,
Yes.
Michelle Long,
Yes.
Tom Murtaugh,
Yes.
Harry Brown,
Yes.
Tracy Brown,
Yes.
Carl Griffin, absent. Lisa Dellum,
Yes.
Kathy Parker,
Yes.
Carla Snodgrass.
Yes.
All right, so 15 votes in favor to send that back. You will not need to fill out that ballot because of the way it's phrased, and there's no official action item anyway. This is just internal, so we can move on to our next item of business.
Okay,
I move to hear and approve Z 2796, Stephen D. Hobby, GB to R1B.
A second.
Ryan.
Okay. All right. A lot of you are familiar with this location in Lafayette. It's quite a patchwork quilt of zoning districts, as you can see from the map there. This site, kind of located on the northwest corner of this intersection, is zoned general business. There are two houses, both built in 1954, according to the county assessor. The two homes are currently connected to sewer by one tap, and they share a well. The proposal is to post rezone, if it is approved by council, to submit a minor subdivision petition to formally divide the land so that you have one lot per house. And then at that point, the houses will be formally individually connected to city utilities. Prior to the 98 ordinance, residential uses were permitted in the GB zone. So these uses are currently legally non-conforming. Essentially what we have here is an effort to clean this up, get rid of the non-conformities, make them conforming. And this first step will take care of that zoning aspect. And then the subdivision step later will correct the subdivision errors that have just been grandfathered essentially. And everything should be in full conformance. So staff supports this petition, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we are recommending approval.
Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative want to make a presentation?
I don't think I need to. This is Steve Hobby, 1129 Ocala Avenue in Lafayette. I think what the gentleman just said is, he said it a lot better than I could. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. Are there any questions from the commission?
This is Don. I'd just like to add that the subdivision has been submitted. It's called Elston Acres subdivision. It'll be heard at the August 5th executive committee meeting, I believe.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, there will be a 1-minute pause for citizen comment. Sally, would you give me a time, please?
I will.
1 minute has elapsed and Ryan says there have been no comments made on YouTube or Facebook.
Very good, thank you. Zach?
All right, when I call your name, say approve or deny on Z 2796. Jackson Bogan, absent. Larry Leverins,
Approve.
Ron Winger,
Approve.
Gary Schroeder,
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds,
Approved.
Greg Jones,
Approved.
Jake Gray,
Approved.
Amanda Looper,
Approved.
Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approved.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approve.
Perry Brown,
Approve.
Tracy Brown,
Approve.
Carl Griffin, absent. Lisa Dullum,
Approved.
Kathy Parker,
Approved.
Carla Snodgrass.
Approve.
All right, 15 votes in favor of approving that. Folks, make sure that you click the right ballot because we skipped a couple things and we had a continuance. So it's Z 2796. And when you get those submitted, Don will let us know.
We have 14 ballots for approval. Not sure who's missing.
That's me. My email got deleted, so I'm trying to find it. Diane Trader, do you know when you sent that email out?
I've got 15 now.
You have 15, Don?
Yes.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, Gary, the next item, please.
I move to hear and approve Z 2797 Reasons LLC PDRS to R4.
I second.
Brian?
Sure. Okay, we have a rezone petition here. It's slightly unusual going from PD back to a conventional zone, but it's PDRS to the R4W zone. This plan development was approved back in 2004. The design intent was to try to create a structure generally conforming with the R3W zone in terms of its bulk height and so forth, but and structurally to have the building almost look like a converted home from, as there are still many in this vicinity. But to have modern apartments in the interior. That PD did have a fairly strict clause about prohibiting units in the basement level, and so that was a fairly strict restriction there that can't be easily undone. And so this rezone petition would allow the residential density to expand because the residential density, there is no cap in the R4W zone. And so that's the reason why they're going to R4W as opposed to R3W, which does have that density cap. And I mentioned those numbers in the staff report. Structurally, on the outside, there's really not going to be any changes at all. It'll if rezoned, it would have to abide by R4W standards if they make any changes to that end. But they would be able to benefit from that density issue on the interior. In terms of its conformity with the recently adopted West Lafayette Downtown Plan, Block 8, as described in the staff report, is fairly open-ended, but it's meant to be sort of a transition zone to allow for a mix of residential densities as you're moving from kind of the core area of the village north into the New Chauncey neighborhood, which is north of Fowler. So we're a little bit south of that, but this is kind of where that transition starts. This is a very small little lot, and so it very much conforms with that idea of having a variety of densities. Not everything's going to be super tall, but we're going to have places for modest densities. So this rezone is very much in keeping with that spirit, particularly given the lot limitations. So staff does support this transition from R4 to the R4W zone and the removal of the PD, and be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, we are recommending approval of Z 2797.
Thank you, Ryan. Does the petitioner or petitioner's representative want to make a presentation?
Yes, thank you. Chris Shellman here with Goodwine Law, 250 Main Street. Thank staff and Ryan for putting together the staff report. We agree with the staff report. Ultimately, we'll be getting a probably more complicated than it's worth PD off the books. It might be one of the most boring PDs Ryan's ever come across. But ultimately, what petitioners plan on doing is leaving everything as is and adding a bedroom in the basement, which is designed with access to facilitate such. That's basically all that will occur. We'd be happy to answer any questions, but if not, respectfully request your recommendation of approval for sort of the first stake in the adoption of the Downtown Edge District consistent with the comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shulman. Are there any questions from the commission? Hearing none, Sally, will you give me a 1-minute time lapse here? And Ryan, watch out for talks or any comments, please.
Time has started. One minute has elapsed.
No comments on this item.
Thank you to both of you. Zach, you want to call for the vote, please?
All right, when I call your name, signify approve or deny. Jackson Bogan, absent. Larry Leverance.
Approve.
Roland Winger.
Approve.
Gary Schroeder.
Approve.
Jerry Reynolds.
Approved.
Greg Jones.
Approve.
Jake Gray.
Approve.
Diana Looper,
Approved.
Vicky Pearl,
Approved.
Michelle Long,
Approve.
Tom Murtaugh,
Approve.
Perry Brown,
Approve.
Tracy Brown,
Approve.
Carl Griffin, absent, sorry. Lisa Dellum,
Approve.
Kathy Parker,
Approve.
Carla Snodgrass. I
Approved.
lost Carla. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Uh,
15 votes in
Sorry,
favor.
approved.
Nope, you're fine. 15 votes in favor, and we have this last ballot. Please fill those out on 2797, and Don will let us know when he has all those.
Will do. We have 15 ballots for all approved.
Thank you, Don. Administrative matters, Sally.
I don't have any for this evening.
Okay. Approval of the August Executive Committee agenda.
And move that the following request for subdivision be placed on the August 5th, 2020 Area Plan Commission Executive Committee agenda at petitioner's request. Placement thereon being without reference to compliance or non-compliance with the subdivision ordinance. And those would be S 4927 Ayala minor subdivision minor sketch, S 4928 Frank's Field minor subdivision minor sketch, S 4929 Northfleet commercial subdivision part 3, a replat of parts 1 and 2 minor sketch, and S 4930 Elston Acres minor subdivision minor sketch.
I second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? That passed. Determination of variance.
I move that the following requests for variance from the Unified Zoning Ordinance are not requests for variances prohibited from consideration by ordinance and statute, or not use requests. Okay, not requests for use variance. I'll get it right there. Prohibited by consideration, prohibited from consideration by ordinance and statute. Okay. BZA 2038, Bill J. Phillips. BZA 2040, Purdy O'Neill Farms LLC, and BZA 2041, Murtaugh Law LLC.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? That carried. Director's report, Sally.
Unless you have any questions, I don't have anything to add to the report that I sent out yesterday.
Okay, thank you. Any comments on that? Hearing none, citizens' comments and grievances. Let's give me another 1 minute pause, and we'll see if anyone has anything to say.
Time has started. 1 minute has elapsed.
And no further comment.
Thank you. Just one more comment. Thank you. This is my first time chairing this, and thanks for bearing with me as we stumbled through it, but I don't think we did anything illegal tonight anyway, so that's good. Gary, I'll take the last motion.
Very good job, Larry. I move to adjourn.
Thank you. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, great
Bye.
job, Larry.
Thank you. everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Good evening, everyone.
Good night. See you.